In the time of chattel slavery, slaves toiled for long hours in the hot sun for no pay. They slept in crummy quarters, sometimes along with the animals, and ate food they put together from leftovers from their master's house. There was no end to the amount of labor. You were not regarded as human. You were there to work, and when you could no longer do so, they threw you away and replaced you. Thankfully, times have changed and things are much better. Or are they? Today, there are no whips, chains, or slave catchers. All these things were replaced by your bills. You willingly work overtime to pay your bills. They don't have to get someone to hunt you down, as you will come back on your own accord because of your bills. The chains are you not being paid enough to have true financial security, because this is the way to keep you on the treadmill and not give you enough time to learn new skills and tap into your own creativity. Because you're broke, you have to live in the crappiest neighborhoods in a studio apartment because this is all you can afford. Every corporation desires to have you work more hours for less pay. If they had it their way, we would be right back to chattel slavery. In fact, this is the case for many prison inmates today who are stamping license plates for essentially nothing. There's also the hiring of illegals and paying them pennies on the dollar. They're going to get as close to not paying you anything as they can while working you as long and as hard as possible. Even when looking at high-paying jobs like pro athletes, they get worked to the bone and don't make much money. They might make more than the average 9-to-5 worker, but they work 10 times harder for way more hours. Relative to how much they work, the pay isn't great. Pro athletes work all year round. There is no off-season. If you don't keep up your conditioning and improve your skills, you will fall behind and be cut from the roster. People look at Michael Jordan and LeBron James as examples of getting rich playing pro sports, not knowing these two individuals didn't make the majority of their money from playing basketball. Most of their fortune came from what they did themselves outside of playing basketball in building, expanding, and monetizing their own brand. There's a reason why the majority of pro athletes aren't wealthy once they leave the league and why many go broke. There's no real job satisfaction because your job was not meant to be satisfying. You're nothing more than a cog in someone else's machine. If the cog no longer works, throw it away and install a new one. You are an employee. The root word for employee is employ, which means to be put to use. You're no different from a hammer or a saw. A hammer or saw isn't creative. It can only do one thing. They are merely a tool. They are used by someone to complete a task. Once the task is done, the tool is set aside until needed again. We're not tools. We're human beings with the capacity to create things independent of someone else's control or guidance. A job doesn't care about your creativity if it doesn't accomplish the task you were employed for. And even if you do use creativity to complete the task, it's not rewarded, and in some cases, it's punished. Truth is, slavery never went anywhere. It simply evolved. The biggest slave plantations in the modern day are the popular grocery stores and fast food restaurants you patronize. The job market is a great example of the more things change, the more they remain the same. As human beings, we're not meant to be working a job. It's actually against our nature. It's unnatural to slave away at a mundane, repetitive task under someone's oversight and control. Being under authority and leadership is one thing, but calling someone your boss and giving them authority over your life is another. A man is not meant to have another person as his boss. A man looking to another person as a leader is a situation where this person has earned a man's respect and admiration and is seen as someone who can help them get someplace in life they want to go. The boss isn't taking you anywhere but to the grinder. He's only there to make sure you're doing the tasks you were employed for. There's coming under the authority of someone leading you somewhere to improve your position, and there's being under the control of someone who isn't going to benefit you at all and take you nowhere but to tedious groundhog monotony. A job is a stopgap, never a final destination. It's time to stop punching the clock and in turn stop letting the clock punch us. Our time is way more valuable than what we are selling it for to faceless, soulless corporations. I honestly don't have a problem with automation. Let these companies get a machine to do mindless, endless, monotonous, unrewarding work while we go out and create things in this world. No one else can give you freedom. You must give it to yourself. It's within every person to produce, build, and create. Getting a good job is becoming less and less viable by the day, as well as retirement becoming less and less feasible. It's been said that one will never gain financial freedom from working for someone else. We must tap into our creative nature and forge something valuable. I'm not telling people to quit their job today. Many aren't in the financial position to do so. Start putting together an exit strategy now. Forget figuring out how to make yourself more comfortable on the job plantation and start figuring out a way to emancipate yourself. It's high time we write ourselves our own Declaration of Independence.